As water continued to invade the cabin, Sarah frantically searched for a way to reinforce the binding ritual. The journal mentioned an emergency measure her grandmother had prepared, a glass container of preserved blood hidden within the foundation stones of the cabin's fireplace. Sarah pried loose the stones with trembling hands as water swirled around her ankles. Behind them, she found a small iron box containing a vial of dark liquid, nearly black with age, alongside a yellowed note, "Last resort. Mix with fresh guardian blood. Beware the cost. Permanent binding requires permanent change." Through the windows, Sarah could see the lake's surface churning with forms just below, pressing upward as if against an invisible barrier that was rapidly failing. The rising water inside the cabin moved unnaturally, flowing against gravity to form patterns on the walls, faces emerging and dissolving in the moisture, their expressions twisted in agony and rage. Sarah's phone rang, startling her, somehow still working despite the impossibility of cell reception in this remote location. When she answered, she heard only the sound of rushing water and a distant voice that sounded disturbingly like her own. "We have waited for a guardian who would understand. You are already half ours. Accept the final change." She cut her palm, mixing her blood with her grandmother's preserved sample, knowing that completing this ritual would forever bind her to this place and to whatever waited beneath the water. The situation with the twins grew dire when their school called to report that both children had nearly drowned during swim class. The instructor had found them sitting cross-legged at the bottom of the pool, apparently breathing the water and refusing to surface until physically pulled up. They weren't struggling, the bewildered instructor told Rebecca over the phone. They looked peaceful, like they were having a conversation with someone we couldn't see. That night, James installed locks on the outside of the children's bedroom doors, a desperate measure he hated himself for implementing. The parents took shifts keeping watch, but both fell into a deep, unnatural sleep around 3 a.m. They woke at dawn to find both rooms empty, the windows still locked from inside. Following wet footprints downstairs, they discovered the basement floor covered in a perfect scale model of the lake and surrounding property, crafted from mud and lake water. At the center, where their house stood, someone had placed 4 small dolls representing their family, with their heads submerged in tiny pools of water. Most disturbing of all was a 5th figure half emerged from the miniature lake, a crude clay form with Rebecca's face, reaching toward the house. Michael became increasingly convinced that Harold Kirkman, the previous owner, had not vanished willingly, but had fought against the cult's influence. In Harold's workshop, hidden behind a false wall, Michael discovered a collection of research materials, newspaper clippings, hand-drawn maps of the lake with depth measurements, and journals documenting Harold's investigation. Harold had identified underwater caves connecting all the properties around the lake, creating a perfect 7-pointed star pattern. His final journal entry read, "They're in my dreams now. My reflection moves independently. I found 6 vessels preserved beneath the lake, waiting for the 7th. I am to be the final host. I've prepared countermeasures in the north-facing wall of the cellar. God help whoever finds this if I failed." Following the clue, Michael broke through the cellar wall, discovering a lead-lined box containing 7 glass vials filled with dark liquid and the hand-drawn ritual diagram, a mirror image of the cult's ceremony, designed to seal rather than open the doorway. As he studied the materials, Michael noticed his own reflection in a nearby window. While he stood perfectly still, his reflection smiled and raised a finger to its lips in a shush gesture. When Michael moved in shock, his reflection remained stationary for several seconds before finally mimicking his actions with a slight delay. He was running out of time before June 17th, and now he wasn't entirely sure which thoughts in his head were still his own.